Welcome to Katlaw Truck Driving School's pre-trip training video series. This video is to assist you with preparing and studying for your pre-trip test on your CDL exam for the interior of the Class B vehicle. Have your training manuals ready? Let's go. Say, next I will go inside my truck. Next we will now go to the interior pre-trip of the Class B vehicle. As you climb in the truck, always climb in with 3 points of contact. Put the key in the switch and the examiner will stand in front of the truck while you check the low beam and high beam headlights, then the marker lights, left and right turn signals, and emergency lights. And he or she will walk to the back of the truck to check the marker lights, tail lights, brake lights, emergency flashes, and left and right turn signals. Now, remember to look at the air pressure. If the air pressure is above or around 100 psi, it needs to be below 100 psi. Somewhere around 60 psi will do. And say, I'm bringing the air pressure down so the air compressor will build the air pressure to the governor cutout at 120 to 140 psi for my air test. Remember to listen for the governor cutout and immediately point it out to the examiner. Do this no matter where you are in the inside pre-trip. If you did not hear it, lead the pressure back down and wait for the governor cutout again. Now, put the key back in your pocket. Now we're going to check the parking brake. Touch and say, my parking brake is applied. Seatbelt. My seatbelt is securely mounted, adjusts, latches properly, and is not ripped or frayed. My seat is adjusted for me and is securely mounted to the floor. Under my passenger seat, there is a 5-pound BC type fire extinguisher that is securely mounted and is fully charged. Safety pin is in place and the inspection is up to date. I have 3 red reflective triangles and 6 spare fuses are inside my glove box. My floor is clean with no loose objects that can roll under the pedals. Mirrors. Point at both mirrors and say, my mirrors are securely mounted, not cracked, bent or broken, with no missing hardware. The heater wire is securely mounted with no missing hardware. It is not bare or frayed and operates properly. Windshield. Touch and say, the windshield is securely mounted, not cracked or broken, is clean, has no illegal stickers, there's no obstructions, and there's no damage to the glass. There are no cracks longer than 2 inches, and there are no fisheyes. The seal is not cracked and does not allow leaks. Safe start. Say, now I'm going to do a safe start so the air pressure will build back up to the governor cutout between 120 and 140 psi. Press the clutch in, put the transmission in neutral, put the key in the cycle position, wait 5 seconds, and then start the engine. Once started, release the clutch gently, slowly, and in control. Gauge check. While doing this, make sure that you touch each gauge and say, my oil pressure gauge is building to normal, water temperature is climbing to normal, the voltmeter is between 12 and 14 volts, primary and secondary air gauges are climbing to the governor cutout between 120 and 140 psi. Lighting indicators. While doing this, make sure that you touch the dash and say, my headlights are on, my high beams operate, left signal operates, right signal operates, my emergency flashes operate, and the panel light dimmer switch also operates. Wipers. Turn on the wipers and washer fluid and say, the wiper arms and blades are securely mounted, not cracked or broken, they have no missing hardware, they are touching the windshield, and they operate properly. The windshield washer fluid works and the level is full. Heater. Turn on the heater and check with your hand and say the heater operates properly and there are no obstructions. Do the same with the defroster and check with your hand and say the defroster operates properly and there's no obstructions there as well. Steering wheel free play. Demonstrate as you go along that there is no more than 10 degrees or 2 inches of the steering wheel play on this 20-inch steering wheel before the front tyres barely move. Commentate as you do this. Check both horns and say the electric horn works and also the air horn works. Now, did the governor cutout occur? Did you point it out to the examiner? If you did not hear it, then bleed the brakes back down below 100 psi and build the air pressure back up to the governor cutout and acknowledge it to the examiner before doing the air test. Air test. Remember that during the air test that anytime you mess up, start it over from the beginning to make sure that you build the air pressure back up to the governor cutout before you start the air test. We're going to name every test, tell the examiner what we're going to do in the test, perform the test, and then tell the examiner whether the test was successful or not. So, we've acknowledged the governor cutout at 120 to 140 psi in both primary and secondary gauges. And so to set up for the air test, do the following. Do not use your foot service brakes. Place truck into second gear, turn the engine off, turn the key back to the run position, do not start the truck, take the foot off the clutch, press the yellow parking brake valve in. This will release the parking brakes. Now, we're going to do our 3-pound leak test. touch the gauges, place your foot firmly on the service brake and hold it, and say, I'm watching for no more than 3 psi of air pressure loss in 1 minute in my primary and secondary air gauges after the initial drop. Then, count to 1 minute by counting 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, until you reach 1 minute. Say, that was a successful test as I did not lose more than 3 psi in 1 minute. Low air warning light and buzzer. Say, I'm now going to check my low air warning light and buzzer. I'm going to fan the brakes down until the warning light and buzzer come on at 60 psi in my primary and secondary air gauges. Put your finger on the light and identify it and say, my low air warning light and buzzer came on at 60 psi. Fan the brake down 4 more times after hitting the buzzer at first to make sure it stays on. Spring brakes. Say, I'm now going to check my spring brakes. They should come on between 20 and 45 psi in my primary and secondary air gauges, making the yellow brake valve pop out. Then say, the spring brake's activated between 20 and 45 psi. Do not touch the spring brake during the section of this test. Now, say to the examiner, before I can continue my air test, I need to get out and unchock my wheels. Make sure you take the key with you when you get out of the truck, close the door behind you, and get out facing the truck using 3 points of contact. Then get back in the truck with 3 points of contact facing the vehicle. Put your seatbelt on, put the truck in neutral, and then the key back in the switch. I'm now going to perform a safe start so the air pressure will build back to the governor cutout of 120 to 140 psi in my primary and secondary air gauges. Do this by pressing the clutch in, put the transmission in neutral, put the key in the cycle position, wait 5 seconds, then start the engine and release the clutch slowly. Build the air pressure to the governor cutout of 120 to 140 psi and make sure you point it out to the examiner. Then place the truck back into second gear. Now I'm going to check the truck parking brake to make sure they are adjusted properly. You're now going to do a little tug in the truck by gently coming off the clutch. The key word here is gently. Now say, the truck parking brakes are adjusted properly and I still have sufficient air pressure to do my next test. Service brakes. Say, I'm going to drive no more than 5 miles per hour to check the service brakes. Push the yellow valve in, pull the truck forward slowly and smoothly, and apply both the clutch and the service brake. Then say, the truck did not pull to the left or right and stop smoothly, which would indicate that there is no suspension, tyre problems, or brake problems. Then, park the truck by putting the gear shift back in neutral, pulling the parking brake out, take the feet off the clutch and service brake, and look around the cab one last time in case you forgot something, and then say, I'm now done with my pre-trip. That concludes the pre-trip. If you're successful, congratulations, you'll now move on to the yard skills. This video is for training students in Georgia in the United States to assist them to pass their CDL driving test. It may be beneficial for other students looking to learn to drive a truck in other states in the US and even around the world, but please know that the testing requirements will differ from state to state. This information is correct in 2023 at the time of publication, but testing requirements may very well change in the coming years ahead. On your test day, if you aren't driving equipment identical to what is shown in these videos, please consider what differences your test equipment has and ensure that you say what is shown here, applying it to the vehicles that you use.